Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 209. Are you ready to join the clan? Today we have Chris Palmisano, Chief Operator Officer, Chief Revenue Officer, and a board member at Rocket Dollar. He's a mentor at Startup Accelerator, a guest lecturer at business schools, an angel investor. Hello Chris.
Hi, Patience. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I know the clan is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my clan a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own online business?
Yeah, sure. So I've been working around technology for a long time. I went to college and studied information systems, and then I went into the military and I worked with communication systems and technology. And then went into the private sector, worked in healthcare and in big technology and then small technology for startups and early stage companies. And then eventually found my way to Rocket Dollar alongside the CEO and some of the founders. I helped get Rocket Dollar off the ground. And now here we are running a financial technology company, and Rocket Dollar helps Americans and people with retirement accounts invest in alternative assets. So things like real estate or private companies or something that's not publicly listed. And that's what we're doing today.
What is the most dangerous belief an online entrepreneur can have?
Yeah, probably that I think the most dangerous thing is that people think that they can't do this. And I think everybody can. I think the internet's big enough. And what the internet or the online ecosystem, what it allows for, is for people to find a niche audience for something. And so it's the same logic that makes Amazon work. I mean, Amazon worked in the early days because books that someone might only sell 3 or 4 copies of, Amazon could find those people, or those people would find the book through Amazon, right? Mm-hmm. So even if your audience for your product or your service is very niche and very small, the internet makes the economics work. So I think everybody that has any interest at all in a business or a side business or a side hustle, even a full-time business, can do so online. Today, the barriers to starting an online business are super low. So to answer your question, I think the most dangerous belief is that you can't do it or that you shouldn't do it. I think everybody should and everybody should try.
Why do you do what you do, Chris?
Yeah, good question. So the business that we're running today helps people save for retirement. And it helps them save in a new and unique way. And my wife and I started using a similar type of account and a similar type of strategy a long time ago. And it's been very beneficial for us. It's helped us out quite a bit. So I'm a big believer in helping people save and invest for their retirement or for their future, especially if they have a unique skill or unique capability that would allow them to understand a unique asset class. So for example, let's say you're a real estate investor. You know real estate, but it's very difficult to go buy real estate with a retirement account. And we should make that really easy for real estate people or real estate professionals. That leads me to this business where, because we were successful investing with one of these types of accounts, I think it's a good way to pay it forward and make it easy for everyone who wants to do this to do so. And so we're giving, entrepreneurs, business owners, and people that are savers, the ability to invest in an asset class that they might understand. So I do this because it worked for us, and I think we should be able to help other people do the same thing.
Let's put man aside. How do you know you are successful?
Oh, good question. Well, I think there's a lot of different definitions of success. I think people should think, very personally. It takes some self-awareness. You should understand what success means to you. So you should define your own priorities and your goals and set out your own path. And then as you move along that path, you reflect back on whether or not you're living your priorities. If you've set out some goals for yourself to know whether or not you're successful, then you look at where you are and you can decide for yourself whether or not you're successful instead of having to get all this external validation from other people. I think it comes back to everybody individually deciding what's important to them and measuring success in a way that's unique to them.
Can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others?
Oh, good question. This is one of my favorite questions. So there tends to be this belief that entrepreneurship is unique and that only some people can do it and only some people are cut out for it, and that you can't teach or train entrepreneurs. I don't think any of that's actually correct. I think there's a lot that we can teach everyone about entrepreneurship. For example, how fundraising works. That can be taught. We can teach people how to fundraise. There's a path to it. There's knowledge about it. There's courses and materials and books and experts and people who do it all the time, or people who do this professionally. So you can teach someone who knows nothing now how to fundraise or how to go out and pitch an investor. That's stuff that can be taught. I think we can actually teach quite a bit of the skills that go into being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are just unique people with a certain skill set and a belief system. And I think we can teach the skill set. And I think over time, people can become more entrepreneurial. So I think you can train entrepreneurs. So I'd like to believe that almost anybody can be taught the skills and can develop the belief system and become an entrepreneur. And we should also say that there's lots of different types of entrepreneurship. So for some people, they might only need to build a lifestyle business. In a lifestyle business, maybe think a personal trainer who works at the gym and trains a certain number of clients for a certain period of time and makes a certain income doing that. That's probably a lifestyle business or a lifestyle entrepreneur. There's also a salary substitute business where you basically build your business. Let's go with the trainer again. So the trainer now builds a business that's big enough to generate the same type of wage or the same type of income that they would get working, for maybe a big gym as a full-time trainer. So those are still entrepreneurs. They might not be
the next Google or build the next Facebook, but they're still entrepreneurs. And then the next level is really those entrepreneurial ventures where small teams of people are starting out together to build a new product, maybe to take on investors and outside capital, and to try to change the world.
What have you learned from business as a whole?
I think the biggest thing that I've learned is that business is really about people helping people. And if you come up with something that's really valuable, value is found in ways to solve problems for other people. And if it's a big enough problem that you're solving, people will pay you and pay you handsomely to solve the problem. So at the end of the day, I think my biggest takeaway is it's really just people helping people. And I kind of like that.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
I think the biggest thing that's worked for me is I know my own learning style. And so I know how I learn new things, and that helps me learn new things pretty quickly. And so I can move from one thing to the next and know that I'll figure it out, or that I'll learn and I'll learn really quickly. And being a lifelong learner has been really helpful for me.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
I don't know. I don't know if nobody knows it, but I eat a lot of Italian food, probably every day. And so some of my friends know that. My family knows that, but the rest of the world at large probably does not, although it's probably not a stretch.
Don't you ever get tired of it?
No.
Okay. Oh, in your businesses, have you ever had mentors yourself or coach?
Yeah, actually both. So I think mentors and coaches are an extremely important part of the process. The first time I actually worked with a coach, not just a mentor, was when I got into sales. And sales can be a difficult domain. It can be a tough job, right? Because you're putting yourself out there, you're meeting people, you're talking to them, you're pitching them on a product or a service or an opportunity. In the vast majority of time, your deal goes nowhere. Your proposal goes nowhere. People tell you no all day long. It's a job that's really, the successful salespeople are people that can handle getting told no all day long. In the pursuit of finding a few who are going to say yes. And that can be a very difficult job from a psychology perspective. Psychologically, it can be very difficult. It can be very draining. And lots of people will tell you that they don't like sales because they can't handle the rejection. I knew I wanted to do it. I wanted to learn how to do it and be successful at it. So I went and got a coach. And it was extremely valuable. It may have been the best career move I've ever made. And the coach helped me look at myself and think through my own shortcomings and my own psychology, and help me work through how to deal with all of that, and how to deal with all the soft skills and get better at the soft skills, and then tie in with things that I was already good at. And it was a wonderful experience. And again, I would actually call it the best career move I've ever made. And then mentors, I've had a lot of mentors along the way. I always try to have 2 or 3 that I can talk to, regardless of what I'm doing or what stage I'm at.
What is the most valuable thing your mentors or coaches has told you?
The big one is to learn how to, I guess, separate your identity from the role that you're playing, and remember that in a role, like your job. So, or my job today, I'm the chief operating officer for this company, and so I've got a lot that I'm working on and a lot that I'm doing, and every day you're going to get a lot of feedback, some formal, some informal, and you want to really learn how to separate the feedback about the role from who you are as a person. And understanding this really gets into the psychology of your identity versus your job or versus your role, and they shouldn't be mixed. So you should be able to, and this helps you process feedback without taking it personally. So understanding the concept of the identity versus your role was probably one of the most powerful things I've learned from a coach.
What is the most valuable thing you have ever given away?
That's a good question. I'd say probably time, right? We give up a lot of our time, and we give it willingly, because I give up a lot of my time, like to do mentoring and coaching of my own with other entrepreneurs and people that are starting companies, especially here in Austin where I live, or other veterans that are in transition. And you do it, I do it because I think it's the right thing to do, and someone helped me, so I should help someone else.
Do you partner with other startups or crowdfunding platforms to accelerate funding for real estate, or just startups?
No, we do this for any type of alternative asset. Mm-hmm. So for anybody out there that has a crowdfunding site or a real estate business, we partner with as many of them as we can. Actually, we like to make sure that our clients understand what they can invest in. And so we don't sell investments. That's not our business. We simply maintain and administer retirement accounts so that our clients can invest in other things. So that's our business. But we do look at and we do talk to and in some ways partner up with alternative asset providers, which could take the shape of real estate developers or real estate syndicators or real estate crowdfunding platforms, or startup crowdfunding platforms. Like there's a great one called Republic. We really like Republic. Or Our Crowd is another one that's really large and pretty successful. And people can come to us, open a retirement account, and then go invest a small amount of money on those platforms. And we typically recommend that alternative assets be baked into the overall portfolio. And depending on the investor's appetite for risk and their other assets, it's probably a good idea to keep the alternative portion of the portfolio to a small percentage, maybe 5%, 10%, maybe a little bit more if the investors got a lot of assets.
What is the most surprising investment you have heard of someone making, and do you think it's going to pay off?
Oh, interesting. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, so in the alternative space, you hear about all kinds of things. So I have heard of people investing in racehorses, and they sometimes make a lot of money, and most of the time they don't make any money at all. I've heard of people investing in gold at the right time and making a lot of money in gold, and I've heard of people investing in gold at the wrong time and making no money. Same thing with really any other asset class, but with alternatives, they can sometimes be a little more exotic. And so, we do hear and see crazy things from time to time. We tend to steer clients. So we give them the ability to do really what they want, but we try to direct them towards assets that are a little more predictable, like real estate, and in some cases, syndications and opportunities where they can get a little diversification even with an alternative.
How are you seeing your customer base invest their IRAs once they have the freedom to invest in anything they want?
Yeah, great question. So the vast majority of them invest in real estate. Real estate's been around for a long time, right? There's lots of different ways to do it. There are some tried and true investment strategies for real estate. And so the primary area is really real estate. And we see the full gamut of real estate opportunities, real estate in the form of rental properties or single family properties, multifamily. And we also see syndications. And a syndication is just where some real estate developer or some real estate group buys a property, but maybe it's a pretty large property. And so they chop up pieces of it and sell it to investors. And so that's something else that we see the client base investing in pretty regularly.
Do you have any tips if someone wants to come into this retirement investment, like 3 top tips you can give them where to start and if it is easy? Is this for everyone?
Yeah, so this is anyone that has earned income can open an IRA, or if they had earned income in the past, maybe they have an old 401k or 403b or some retirement plan from a previous employer. They could do a rollover or a transfer to us, and then get the ability to invest in something other than just stocks, bonds, and mutual funds with their retirement account. Yeah, so virtually anyone can do it. There are fees involved. And sometimes the fees look a little high. And so what I would tell people is if you just got a small account or you're just getting started, this might not be the best thing for them. Where this really starts to make sense is if you've accumulated some assets and you have some expertise. And let's say that after doing this online success journey for a couple of years, you develop some real expertise in how to evaluate startups that are in a particular domain. And you've accumulated some serious retirement assets by then. And for some additional diversification, you decide to invest in a startup that's already maybe raised a couple of rounds and looks to be a little de-risked. And at the end of the day, it's still up to you to make that decision. But if you wanted to use a retirement account for that, you could, and you can come to us or somebody like us and make that investment.
What grounds you?
My family. We talked earlier about self-awareness, and I've got my own set of priorities, and so I think family and friends and personal relationships.
Let's talk about your business. Tell us more about the Rocket Dollar.
Yeah, so Rocket Dollar helps people invest IRA or 401ks or retirement accounts into alternative assets. The most common asset we see is real estate. We also see startups, private companies, and limited partner interest in venture capital or private equity, as well as the full long tail of alts, which could be crowdfunding, crowd lending, promissory notes, things of that nature. We're based here in Austin. We've got about 15 people. The company was founded a little over a year and a half ago, and we're having a great year, and we're looking forward to continuing to try to change the way people invest for their retirement.
How can we find you and connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm everywhere. I'm on AngelList, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, it's just CM Palmisano. That's my last name, Palmisano. And the email is Chris@Rocket.Dollar.
So glad there will be more from Chris in a moment. If you are listening on one of the many podcasting platforms rather than my website and you are encouraged by Chris's journey, go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for bonus portion of the interview. The Online Success Journey is a wonderful membership community built for people searching for the path to success. We are one big clan and you can be part of this community for free. Once you have joined the clan, click on part of Chris's journey or over 150 other journeys that are available and learn how you can find the right path for your own online success. That's a wrap, clan. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and Chris.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com. Filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. so make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the online success journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.